Okay, congratulations to all of you. You completed learning the Panchayudha Stotra, so I just thought I would take this opportunity to explain some of the meaning of the slokams in the stotra. Okay, so the Panchayudha Stotram is Pancha, 5 plus Ayudham, weapons. It talks about the 5 weapons of Sriman Narayana, mainly being the disc, also called Chakra, and the name of the chakram that Narayana holds is called Sudarshana. The second Ayudham is the Conch, Shanka, and the name of the conch is Panchajanyam. Third is the Mace or Gada, and the name of the Gada that Sriman Narayana holds is called Kaumodakim. Fourth Ayudham is the sword, Khadgam. The name of the Khadgam is Nandakam. And the fifth and last Ayudham is the bow or the Sharngam. Now the Panchayudha Stotram has 7 slokams. 1 slokam describing and glorifying each of the Ayudhams. And then 2 slokams that are the Phala Sruti, which is basically what are the benefits of chanting the Stotram. Traditionally, Panchayudha Stotram is recited after the chanting of Vishnu sahasrāṛāṃ. In the Vishnu sahasrāṛāṃ, if you remember, the last and the final name, that is the 1000th name, is Sarva Prahārana Ayudha, which means he who fills his devotees with overflowing joy and strikes terror in the heart of the wicked with his weapons that are like ornaments decorating his exquisite body. Now, following this 1000th name in the Sahasranamam, we have the Dhyana Slokam, Vanamali Gadi Shangi Shanki Chakri Chanandaki. So Vanamali is describing Sriman Narayana because he's the one who wears the Vanamala, so he's called the Vanamali. And then after that, the Panchaayudhams are mentioned. He holds the Gada, so Gadi. He holds the bow, which is called Sharngam, so one who holds it is Shangi. The conch, Shanka, Shanki. The disc, Chakra, Chakri. And the sword, Nandaka, Nandaki. So perhaps since the main portion of the Vishnu Sahasranamam ends with the 1000th name of Sarva Prahārana and ends with the Dhyana Slokam where all the Panchaayudhams are mentioned, maybe it's because of that the tradition has started that they chant the Panchayudha Stotram after that, which goes into more details about the Ayudhams and glorifies them. So when we say the Panchayudham, we must visualize Perumal in his full glory with all his Ayudhams. Now, what are the purpose of the Ayudhams? There are 3 purposes. The 3 important purposes that Sriman Narayana has these Ayudhams. First one is protection or rakṣatvam. So that is the protection of his devotees from those that trouble them. For example, using his Sudarshana Chakram, Sriman Narayana freed his devotee, the elephant king Gajendra, from the crocodile that had caught his feet and would not let go. The second purpose is identification, Paratva Suchakam, or Tamil sonna Adayalam. Ayudhams are symbols, Chinnam of Perumal, that point out that he is the God of all gods, the cause of the whole universe, and the one identified by the Shastras as the ultimate. Shangodu Chakram Yendum Tadakkayyan, says Andal in the Tiruppavi. And the third purpose is decoration or Abharanam. These Ayudhams add additional beauty to Perumal. Perumal endrale Azhagu. Avan verum kayyil veesikondu vandale Azhagu. Shangodu Chakrathodu vanda unnum vadivazhagu. So these are the 3 main purposes of having Ayudhams: protection, identification, and decoration. Now let's get into the first slokam. The first slokam is on Chakram, the disc. The name of the Chakram that Perumal has is called Sudarshana, and Perumal holds it in his upper right hand. The Sudarshana Chakram is the most prominent of all the Panchaayudhams. So the first slokam is sphurat sahasrāra shikhadi tīvram sudarshanam bhaskara koti tulyam Suradvisham prana vinasi Vishnoho Chakram sadaham sharanam prapadye. Chakram sada aham sharanam prapadye. Chakram to the chakram, sada always, aham I, sharanam refuge, prapadye take. I always take refuge of the chakram. And how does this chakram look like? Sphurat sahasrāra shikhadi tīvram. It has thousands of fiery spokes of flame. If you look at this bottom picture that I put here, see, in a wheel, typically you have something called the spoke, which in Sanskrit it's called aram, which is what links the edge of the wheel to the center. So the Sudarshana chakram has sahasra, thousands of arams that glow, sphurat. And on the edges of the chakram are the flames or jwala, so shikhadi tīvram. So that is sort of describing the how the chakram is. Sphurat sahasrāra shikhadi tīvram Sudarshanam. The word Sudarshana has two meanings. One meaning is that which is beautiful to behold. Sudarshana. So though the chakram has so much flame and fire, it is still very beautiful to behold. The second meaning of Sudarshana is that which shows us the way to the feet of Sriman Narayana. Darshati iti Sudarshanaha. Now, there is also another name for Sudarshana, which is Rathangaha, which means Ratha, chariot, plus Anga, part. So the part of the chariot, which is the wheel or the chakram. So if you remember in sahasrāṇāṃ, it comes all the way at the end, Rathangapani rakṣō'surāṇāṃ sarva praharanāyudaha. So Rathanga comes there, which is also another name for Sudarshana, because it's describing the wheel, which is a part of a chariot. Bhaskara koti tulyam. Sudarshana chakram is brighter than crores or koti of suns, Bhaskara. In the physical world, one sun dispels darkness. Sudarshana is equal or greater than a koti suns. So when he graces us, all our darkness, both external and internal, disappear. Internal darkness is our ignorance of who we really are and what our eternal relationship to Sriman Narayana is. So what does the chakram do? Surat Visham Prana Vinashi. Surat Visham, the enemies of the Devas, that is the Asuras. Prana Vinashi, it destroys. Vishnoho Chakram, the chakram of Vishnu. Sada Aham Sharanam Prapadye, always I take refuge. So why is the word Vishnoho used here? Sudarshana is the Sankalpa Shakti of the Lord. Sankalpa Shakti means that whatever Perumal wants to do, he can do it. Unlike us, when we want something, us wanting something and doing is two different things. For example, I might want to lift the Govardhana hill with one finger. I might want it, but I can't do it, right? But for Perumal, whatever he wants, whatever he thinks, he can do it. That is called Sankalpa Shakti. Vishnoho Chakram. Vishnu is the one who is manifested everywhere, but he uses Sudarshana Chakram to get things done. And that is the glory of Sudarshana. The Chakram has many auspicious attributes. The foremost amongst these are Pīda Pariharam, relief from all kinds of pain and suffering of his devotees. Perumal used the Chakram to kill the crocodile that was tormenting his devotee Gajendra, the king of the elephants. The second attribute is Pīda Pradhanam, relentless misery for the evil-minded. For example, Krishna used the Chakram to kill Shishupala. And third is Papanashanam, destroying of one's sins, which is the first step towards realizing Lord Narayana. Now, Sudarshana, also called Chakratalvan, is worshipped through various means, like mantram. We have the Sudarshana mantram and the Sudarshana Gayatri. He is worshipped through stotram. We learned about a year back the Sudarshana Ashtakam, which is a famous stotram that was written by Swami Desikan on Sudarshana. It's also worshipped through the yantram, through homam, and also as archa form in the temples. There are special sannidhis for Lord Sudarshana at Tirumogur, Kanchi and Srangam, which have become special Prarthana Stalams. In our Sampradayam, it is said that Sriman Narayana and Lakshmi were once discussing in Vaikuntham as to the responsibilities or puruppu in this universe that they should assign to different entities or people. They decided that Chakra would be given the following three things to bestow: Ayus, Arogyam, and Aishwaryam. Ayus, long life; Arogyam, good health of body and mind; and Aishwaryam, wealth. So we always pray to Chakra for these things. That is why performing a Sudarshana Homam or chanting the Sudarshana Mantram or Gayatri is so auspicious and beneficial. Going on to the next Slokam. This Slokam is on the Conch, Shanka, that Sriman Narayana holds in his upper left hand. The Perumal's conch is called Panchajanyam. viṣṇōr mukhōth thānila pūritasya yasya dvanir dānava darpahanta tam Panchajanyam shashikoti shubhram Shankham sadaham sharanam prapatye. Vishnoho mukhothanila puritasya. The air blown from Vishnu's mouth fills the Panchajanyam. Vishnoho mukhoth, from the mouth, anila, air, puritasya, fills. Yasya dvani, it produces a sound, dvani, that Dānava darpahanta, strikes the terror in the hearts of the Asuras and kills them and their pride. Tam Panchajanyam, that Panchajanyam, the conch of the Lord, Shashikoti Shubhram, shines like millions of moons. Shashikoti. Shankham Sadaham Sharanam Prapatye. To that Shankam I take refuge. Shashikoti Shubhram. Here the Panchajanyam is so white and it shines like millions of moons. In the previous Slokam, it was mentioned that the Chakram with its Jwala is a fairy yellow and shines like millions of sun. But here the Panchajanyam is white and shines like millions of moon. So Perumal in his right hand, he has Chakram, Bhaskara Koti Tulyam, with brightness of crores of suns. In his left hand, he has Shankam, Shashikoti Shubhram, with a brightness of crores of moons. Dānava Darpa Hanta. Dānava, Asuras, Darpa, pride, Hanta, kill. The sound of the conch strikes terror in the heart of the Asuras. In the Kurukshetra war in Mahabharata, Bhagavan Krishna took on the role of a charioteer for Arjuna, Parthasarathi, and took only the conch as his weapon. Gita chapter 1 Slokam 15 says, Panchajanyam Rishikeshaha Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dadmau Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha. Here it is mentioned that Rishikesha, which is another name for Krishna, his conch is called Panchajanyam, and that conch was blown. And when the conch was blown, the sound resounded through heaven and earth and terrorized the hearts of the Kauravas led by Duryodhana. Saghosho dhartarashtrāṇāṃ hridayāni vyadarayat nabhascha prithivīṃ chaiva tumulo vyanunādayan. Saghosho, that sound from the conch, nabhascha prithivīṃ chaiva, the sky and the earth, tumulo vyanunādayan, thundered with its sound. And from that sound, hridayāni vyadarayat, shattered the hearts of dhartarashtrāṇāṃ, of Dhritarashtra's son, who were the Kauravas led by Duryodhana. Even today, at Tiruvallikeni temple in Chennai, Krishna is there as Parthasarathi, having only the conch as his weapon and has Abharanam on his right hand. So if you see the picture here, this is a picture of Parthasarathi at Tiruvallikeni. You can see that picture here. In addition to striking terror in the hearts of the wicked, Shanka Talvan also brings good sound or news to its devotees. Rama announced his arrival in Lanka to Sita by blowing the conch. Now, when we talk about the Panchajanyam, we definitely have to talk about Andal and the special set of pasurams that she wrote on the Panchajanyam. Andal, who is one of the 12 Azhwars mystic saints, composed 143 pasurams which are called Nachiyar Tirumozhi. In that, there are 10 pasurams on the Panchajanyam. Andal, who was an incarnation of Bhuma Devi, was not jealous of anyone, but she was envious of the Panchajanyam. In the first pasuram, she asked the Panchajanyam to share with her its close relationship to the Lord and the blissful anubhavam of being close to the Lord's mouth and being filled with the air emanating from that most sacred mouth. Karpuram narumo, kamalappu narumo, Tiruppavala Chevvaithan Itti Tirukkumo, Marupusitha Madhavantan, Vaichuvayum Natramum, Virupputra Ketkindrain, Sol Ariven Sange. Oh, white conch, when Sange, who has the blessing of getting the association of Kannan's beautiful lips. I would like to ask you this. Please tell me how the taste of the lips of Kannabiran, the one who killed the elephant Kuvalayapidam by breaking his tusk, Marupositta Madhavan. Please tell me how that taste of his lips are, since you are most experienced one in this regard. Does the fragrance of Bhagavan's mouth resemble that of Karpuram Narumo? Or is it like the fragrance emanating from freshly blossomed lotus flower, Kamalappu Narumo? Do the Mugilvannan's red lips taste sweet like candy? Tiruppavala Chevvaithan Itti Tirukkumo. Please explain to me clearly how his mouth tastes and smells, for I am longing for the anubhavam of these. That's just the first pasuram. Then there are sort of 9 other pasurams about the Panchajanyam there in Nachiyar Tirumozhi. Moving on to Slokam 3 is the Mace or the Gada. The Gada, Sriman Narayana holds in his lower left hand, and the name of the Gada is Kaumodakim. hiraṇmayīṃ mēru samāna sārāṃ, Kaumodakim daitya kulaika hantrim, Vaikunta vāmagra karabhi mrishtam, Gadam sadaham sharanam prapatye. Gadam sadaham sharanam prapatye. I seek the protection of the mace of the Lord, that is hiraṇmayīṃ, the color of gold, mēru samāna sārāṃ, as tall and as big as Mount Meru, Kaumodakim, its name is Kaumodakim, daitya kulaika hantrim, it kills the asuras by coming down on their limbs. So here some of the commentators say the Gada is used by Perumal to sort of kill run-of-the-mill asuras. And Sudarshana Chakram is only used on special occasions to kill that. Like just like we have some regular shirts we wear every day and we have some special shirts for special occasion, the Gada is for regular asuras and the Sudarshana Chakram is used only on special occasions. Vaikunta Vāmagra Karabhi Mrishtam. It is held lightly by the Lord with the tip of his lower left hand. Vāma Agra Karabhi. Gada Sadaham Sharanam Prapatye. I seek the protection of the mace of the Lord. The photo shown here is of Sri Krishna at Guruvayur. You can see the Gada being held in the lower hand, and it is being lightly held and not grasped. Moving on to Slokam 4. The next Ayudham is the sword, which is called Khadgam in Sanskritam. The name of Perumal's sword is Nandakam. rakṣō'surāṇāṃ kaṭhinōgrakaṇṭha kshedakkṣara chonita digdadaram tam Nandakam nama hare pradīptam Khadgam sadaham sharanam prapadye. rakṣō'surāṇāṃ kaṭhinōgrakaṇṭha, the hard and fearsome necks of the Rakshasas and Asuras. kaṭhinōgrakaṇṭha, the hard and fearsome necks. Chedakshara chonita digdadaram, their necks are cut, and the blood of the Asuras is smeared on the blade of the sword. Tam Nandakam nama, that sword called the Nandakam. Harehe pradīptam, it is shining. Khadgam sadaham sharanam prapatye, I take refuge of the sword. Harehe pradīptam. Now let's look at the use of the word Harehe here. Hari, another name for Perumal, is the one who kills all our sins. Hari harati papani. Just as the sword will cut, Hari will cut away all our sins and steal us to him. Also, it is mentioned in the Vishnu Puranam that the sword represents, the cutting of the swords represents the cutting of our ignorance or avidya. So the ignorance of who we really are and what our relationship to, we don't know, to Sriman Narayana, we don't know. So that sword is equal to knowledge, which cuts that ignorance. Moving on to Slokam 5. The fifth Ayudham is the bow, and Perumal's bow is called Sharngam. Yajjyānināda śravaṇāt sūrāṇāṃ chetāmsi nirmukta bhayani sadyah bhavanti daitya shani bhanavarshi Sharngam sadaham sharanam prapatye. Yajjyānināda śravaṇāt. After hearing the sound of the twang of the bowstring, jya, the word jya means is the sound of the bows, jya. Yajjyānināda śravaṇāt. After hearing the sound of the twang of the bowstring, Sūrāṇāṃ chetāmsi nirmukta bhayani sadyah. Mind of the devas, Sūrāṇāṃ chetāmsi, is freed from fears, nirmukta bhayani, immediately, sadyah. The minds of the devas is freed from fears immediately. Why? Because bhavanti daitya shani bhanavarshi. The shower of arrows fall on the Asuras' head like thunder. Sharngam sadaham sharanam prapatye. To that bow called Sharngam, I seek its protection. Similarly, in Andal in Tirupavai, similarly celebrates this, the downpour of arrows from the Lord's bow. Sārgam udaita saramazhai pol, she says. The Sārgam was carried by Sriman Narayana in his Rama avataram. When Rama went to the forest, he did not have his army. He had only one thing, his Sārgam. But that was more than enough. Vibhishana warns Ravana, each arrow of Rama is like a vajram, a hard diamond, and it is faster than Vayu. Slokam 6 is the Phala Sruti, which lists out the benefits of reciting the Panchayudha Stotram. Imam hare panchamahayudhanam stavam padet yonidinam prabhate samasta dukkhani bhayani sadyah papani nashyanti sukhani santi. Imam hare panchamahayudhanam stavam. This stotram of the 5 Ayudhams of Hari, Padetyah anudinam prabhate. Whoever recites daily anudinam in the early morning, prabhate, samasta dukkhani bhayani satyah. All sorrows and fears will be removed immediately. Papani nashyanti. All sins will be destroyed. Sukhani santi. And happiness will be gained. In the beginning, the Panchaayudhams as weapon will save us by removing our sorrows, fears, and sins. Dukkhani, bhayani, papani. So this is the protection aspect of the Panchaayudhams, the rakshatvam. Afterwards, the Panchaayudhams will become abharanam, decorations, and give us happiness, sukhani. The final slokam, which the Phala Sruti continues. Vane rane shatru jalagni madhye yadrichaya patsu mahabhayeshu itam patam stotra manakulatma sukhi bhave tatkrita sarva rakshaha. Tatkrita sarva rakshaha. The Panchaayudhams will protect us. Where? Vane rane shatru jalagni madhye. Madhye, in the middle of Vane, in the middle of the forest when we are lost. Rane, in the middle of the battlefield. Shatru, in the middle of your enemies. Jala, water, when you're submerged in floods. And Agni, fire, fierce fires. Vane rane shatru jalagni madhye. Yadrichayapatsu mahabhayeshu. In unknown danger and in great fear, mahabhayeshu. Itam patan stotram, whoever recites this stotram, anakulatma sukhi bhavet, will have no sorrow and will attain happiness. So here, the forest that is mentioned here is the forest of samsāraṃ, where the jivan, that is us, lose our way and cry out for rescue. It is like the Vindhya forest in which Acharya Ramanuja lost his way and was rescued by the Divya Dampatis of Kanchipuram. The gruesome battlefield mentioned here is where the jivan is assaulted constantly by the karmendriyams. The Lord as Rishikeshan comes to our rescue then. When we are about to drown in the floods of samsāraṃ and are about to be sucked by the dangerous whirlpools, the Lord as Matsya Avataram gets hold of us and pulls us to the other shore of samsāraṃ. We enjoy tranquility by overcoming all these huge fears. Now, I just wanted to mention a little bit about the Azhwars. And the Azhwars were mystic saints who were immersed in the love for Sriman Narayana. Arvan means one who has dived deep. The Azhwars dived deep into the love that they had for Perumal. There were 12 Azhwars, 11 men and 1 woman, Andal. There are 5 Azhwars who are amsams or incarnation of the Panchaayudhams. Poige Azhwar, Bhutat and Pei Azhwar were the first 3 Azhwars. They're called the Mudal Azhwars. They were born within 3 consecutive days. So, Aipasi Tiruvonam, Aipasi Avittam and Aipasi Sadayam. Poige Azhwar was called that because he was born in a pond and he was the Amsa of Shanka or the Conch. Bhutat Azhwar was an Amsa of the Gada. And Pei Azhwar was an Amsa of Nandakam, the sword. Pei Azhwar was called that because he was so madly in love with the Lord, he used to roam the streets singing and dancing like a madman intoxicated. Tirumasai Azhwar, who came after the Mudal Azhwars, was an Amsam of Sudarshana Chakram, and the Sharngam Amsam was Tirumangai Azhwar. Another interesting thing is there's a Divya Desam that is located in Kanchipuram, about 2 kilometers from the Varadaraja temple, the famous Varadaraja Kovil. And the Perumal in this Thalam is Sri Adikeshava Perumal, and he is seen with 8 hands. The right hands hold the Chakram, Nandakam, a flower and an arrow, and the left hands hold the Shanka, bow, Gada, and Kedayam, which is used to protect while fight using a sword. So I thought this is quite interesting. And maybe next time when we go to Kanchipuram, definitely after visiting Varadaraja temple, you should try to pay a visit to see Adikeshava Perumal, Ashtabhujam, as that 8 arms there. So thank you very much for listening. I'll just conclude now. Yadaksharapada brashtam matrahinam tu yad bhavet tatsarvam shamyatam deva narayana namostute visargabindu matrani padapada cha nyunani chati riktani kshamasva purushottama.
Thank you. Thank you, Sriram.
Thank you, Sriram.